Hi, this is Navaneet from the LFE forum, and today we're going to talk about data tables in Microsoft Excel. Now, before we go into data tables, let's look at the simple model. And what I have here is the capacity to produce 100 units of a product, and there could be two variants of the product. One is a high margin, which I assume that I'll sell 60% of those 100 units for a net profit of $50 per unit. And the rest of the 40%, which is the 100% minus the 60%, I assume that I would sell as a low margin type, which would only fetch me $30 of net profit per unit. Now, to calculate the combined net profit, what I have to do is multiply the 100 times the 60% into this $50 per unit, and the 40%, which is the remaining, which is nothing but the 100 minus the 60% into the $30 per unit. So what I get as a result is $4,200 of combined net profit from these two variants. Now let's say you present this in a meeting, and there could be multiple questions on the 60% assumption of you selling the high margin variant. Now people can ask you multiple questions on what if you change one of these 60% or the $50 and the resultant output would be. And so in order not to do those ad hoc situations, what Excel offers is a data table, and in here the first step in creating a data table is to calculate or to get the formula of the result, the output, to a new cell. And we're going to simply achieve that by equating this to this 4,200, which is the combined total net profit of selling these two items. Now for the time being, I'm going to delete these because I've already done that. And the setup of this data table is such that if you look at this row, for example, I have multiple values or the sensitivity in the net profit of the high margin variant, which is this $50. That means for some reasons, I might not be able to sell the product at $50 per unit, and I would be able to achieve only, let's say, $40 per unit. And in the columns, what we have is this assumption of 60% sensitivity. Now, for some reason, again, I couldn't be able to sell 60% of my capacity as high margin, so I could be only able to sell, let's say, 50%. Now, the way Excel calculates this data table is, now since we equated this 4,200 to this combined net profit, let's select this entire schema of cells that we had populated, click on data, and click on what if analysis, and then the data table. Now, as we saw earlier, in the row we had the net profit changed as per our sensitivity. So what I would do is select the net profit in the row cell or the cell D5 as the row input cell. And we also looked at in the column we had the sensitivity of the 60%, which was the input of high margin type sales. And then I press OK, and what Excel does, it automatically calculates and fills up the data table of what would be the combination of percentage of sale of high margin type with a net profit of one of these dollars per unit. And voila, we got this 4,300. For example, what happens is when you sell 65% at $50 per unit and rest of the 35% at the $30 per unit. Now, how do we check this? So let's say you're selling 65% of them at $50, and the rest of 35%, because 100 minus 65 is the 35%, you're selling it at $30. And what you get output is this $4,300. So that was data tables, and hope this was helpful for you, and looking forward to seeing you in other types of Excel formulas and tactics. Thank you.